Another long day, but I've got all the trim in the back section cut in. I'm leaving the trim off at the bottom until carpet comes. And so this will all get painted gloss white, except I'm going to do the corners gray right there. That saw was absolutely invaluable, the table saw, in cutting interesting pieces, because I cut my own angle pieces here that run from there to there, and that was really helpful. And then I trimmed out the bin doors. Give them a little better look. Don't know if I'll leave them shiny or paint them to gray. Not sure. Kind of like the shiny, but they're a little beat up. And then the back. So tomorrow what I'm going to do is pull everything down and start painting it, and that's going to take a while. Even though I'm going expensive on some things, I need to cut back and save on others. And one thing is 1x lumber. Man, trim boards are ridiculously expensive. So what I did was I milled my own. I took just a standard 2x4, cut a 1/4 inch off each side. This was a really bad one, so I made use of some old ones I had that weren't good enough to be used. And then just cut each edge off, and then I just split it right down the middle, and I get 2 great 8-foot long trim boards. Now, on the topic of spending money, I'm just not going to use these cheap brushes on this job. When I buy these cheap Lowe's and Walmart brushes, the bristles keep falling out. I mean, it's wonderful that you can just throw them away, but it's ridiculous having to pick out all the little pieces of the bristles that fall out, and then the ones you don't find that get stuck in the paint. So I went down to Lowe's and said, what is your best brush? And the guy there recommended the Purdy brush. And what I'm going to have to do is, this is acrylic paint, so I'm going to have to clean it. It's this is over $9 for this brush, which is a lot of money for a brush, but I want something good that's going to do a good job and not fall apart. So I also picked up some mineral spirits, because I'm going to have to clean that brush and reuse it and get my $9 worth out of it. Had a change of plan today, and I'm really happy with it. I decided to just go with the wall color on the trim, because there was so much trim. If I had painted it a contrasting color, it just would have been so distracting, and there are a lot of other things I want to focus on that I'll be adding, and so trim is not one of them to focus on. I think this wall turned out nice, and I painted this over here, and boy, that paint color really matched well, even with the finish on it. Looked great. So the back end is pretty much where I want it, so I guess tomorrow it's time to attack. I have reached the point in time where compromise and decisions have to be made. I've been struggling with this decision for weeks, and I've come up with something that I think I want to do. So there's a plan A and a plan B. Plan A would be what most people would do and kind of makes the most sense, and I'll walk you through it. So what plan A would be to open up this opening here, and not having a walk through, but have a step through, which would then mean cutting a big doorway in this box here to the shower. So there would be an inside entrance and a pass through here, which would then make all this space basically hallway. And I hate hallways, it's so wasteful. But then you also have to take into case the air conditioning system here. And the problem with this is, well, there's kind of 2 problems. It wouldn't be hard to cut through here. It'd only be cutting through one beam, and that's not structural, so that wouldn't be a problem. The wiring could all stay. But I do believe, I'm not sure, but I believe in this wall here, this is the cab wall, and I do believe there may be some structural steel in this wall, and cutting through that might mess with the integrity of the cab. So that's kind of the big unknown and scary part on that one. But other than that, it would be simple to do. The big drawback is, okay, where do you put the kitchen? Your kitchen is going to be basically limited to just this space here. And once you put in a refrigerator, a stovetop, a microwave, there's going to be nothing left in there for storage. So it's going to be very limited. So what I did was I sat down and thought about, well, how am I going to use the MAV? And the grand plan is, since the gas mileage is not the greatest, that this is going to be more of go somewhere and stay for a while. And since I do 3-month work contracts, it'd be really great if I could go somewhere and live in this for 3 months at a time, even in the dead of winters. That's why I'm doing all the insulation. Looking at it in that point of view, where would I spend my time? The shower, as long as you have unlimited water, would be 10-15 minutes a day. Going back and forth, since I wouldn't be doing a lot of driving from the cab to the front, it'd be really great when you're traveling with other people to be able to do that. That would be fun. But I think for me, I'm going to use most of my time. I think what I would get the most enjoyment out of would be having this whole wall, with the exception of the window here, for cabinets. So I could take cabinets and I can incorporate this into a cabinet, so it wouldn't be that bulky, and just have a whole lot of space to use. So that's I'm going to kind of go with plan B. But what I can do is, while I'm putting it in and installing it, I can keep in mind that I always might want to change it over to plan A, so I'll make it easy to remove the cabinets, to make everything where I can unscrew things, where it'd be real simple to convert it back to plan A. And knowing me, after 6 months to a year, I'm going to want to rip parts out and totally redo it again. So there's always options. So I'm going to go with plan B. Well, it's hard to believe it took 2 days to make this wall look so bad, but there were so many different wires and cables and all. I wanted to put plenty of wood slats to make sure I didn't have to open up this wall again. So the first thing of interest is I rebuilt the pass-through here. I just took the tracks, put in a piece of wood, and it all fit in great. And that'll be hidden behind the wall. This wall turned out fine. I'm just going to cover it over. It's nice and flat. This wall is flat until it gets to here, and then it's going to have to bump out and bump out all the way here. So it'll definitely be thicker here and here. This wall over here will be fairly flat. And the ceiling was a good trick, but I think I got a handle on it, so it's going to drop down a little bit, and it's got to because of this beam right here. But that'll also help solve some of the wiring issues that were right up here at the edge. So lots and lots of work. I built 2 boxes out of 3. So here I've boxed in the wires that'll pass through to the other bin. I'm going to go ahead and keep the suction pump. Haven't an earthly clue why, but so far all the switches are going to have purposes. So one of them suction, so why not? So that one is right down in there. And then I need to build out one more box right here to handle these wires. Lots of work, lots of work. Tomorrow, insulation, and hopefully start putting up some wallboard. And got all the insulation up. And it's already starting to look a whole lot better. Another day's work done. And it was a tough one. These cuts, the wall looks a lot simpler now, but that's only because it took so many cuts. So let's look over here where there's 2 bin doors behind that wall. And that came out very nice. This wall is all flat. And I got the cutout and the window, and that'll need a little bit of trim to make that look special. Now there is that bump out right here, but that will probably be hidden in an upper cabinet. Oh, I found out something great. So I did some measurements. A 36-inch sink base will go from right here to right here, and it'll cover the top 2. And it's just the right width backwards, so that the sink base will go completely over the air conditioner unit, which is going to be cool. And it'll also completely hide this box, and it will hide a portion of this box, but I'll have to put in a spacer right here, and so the only thing that'll stick out is just this box right here. And then right between the sink top and the upper cabinet is this little bump out here. So that worked out really well. And this is where the shower's behind that bin there. So the ceiling's going to take some work, but it's not going to be as hard, I think, as the other ceiling to do, because I've got a nice flat line to work with here and over here with just a little bump out there. So I don't think that's going to be too bad.